Day 15, count up. Day 6, countdown, 21-day build, 21 days to rise and shine, climbing the conscious ladder, getting inside our conscious classroom. And I've called today strip, like strip down to naked self. And as a public speaking professor, I kind of hated that, that old adage of just picture everyone in your audience naked, that being like the public speaking advice. And it's like, okay, yes and no, right? Like, let's not be so literal. Let's stay in our perceptual process and let's stick with naked, but let's strip down to a different type of naked. And here's some real public speaking advice from just being in the seat of public speaking professor and speech evaluator. And so the trick in public speaking is being real, period. Being real. And when you get up there to give your speech, you make a choice. You make a choice to either be real, be yourself, and show up exactly as you are and give what you have to give, the way you have to give it, the best you can do it, or perform some rehearsed version of what you believe will earn you a desired result. And you know the difference. You know the difference as speaker, and you know the difference in that audience of who's up there being real and who's up there performing. Because no matter what, no matter where your public speaking skill set is, when you're up there and you're authentic, you offer connection. And it's just unavoidable connection. It encompasses. It's all encompassing. It is something that just commands our attention. And so when you are even the perhaps most rehearsed, high-skilled public speaker, when you're not authentic and you're not offering authenticity, you can give the quote-unquote best speech in terms of a rubric, but if you've offered no connection, who have you really given that speech to, and what have you given it for? And so it was just something so important to me in my classroom to say, yes, let's be naked in here. Let's agree we're all vulnerable in this experience. Coming up here is a real threat to the system, right? Because eyes are on us, and there is a moment there where we feel our nakedness. And when we are comfortable in our authentic self and our expression of that authentic self, that confidence comes right through us. But when we're not confident in that and we still offer it, we connect on an empathetic level just to that vulnerability, just to that, wow, that may not have been the most confident speaker, but their authenticity was so connecting that was a good speech. And so, yes, it's about stripping down to that naked self, to the who am I authentically. And when we tell ourselves that truth, we have that truth to offer. And so whether you are the best communicator or not, when you're authentic, you offer connection. And connection simply commands our attention. So today, on this day 15 build up, day 6 countdown, we're stripping down. We are stripping down any performative quality of self here, and we're just going to be real. I'm just going to continue offering my truest self. And I know that one way or another, it will command the attention of my true audience, which is those intended to connect with me. And that's kind of how we journey. So this is a cool day. It's a day to be confronted with that naked self, with that true self, and it's going to work in two parts. It's going to first afford you that view of your innocence, of your truest, purest self, which we might call innocence. And from that view, you will simply be afforded the full truth, which is what has happened and corrupted that purity and that innocence. And stripped down, there's nowhere else, to cover up. There's nothing else to cover that up with. So we've got to handle that confrontation with compassion, and we've got to give ourselves that compassion. We've got to feed ourselves that and say, I see that true self in here. I see that stripped down naked self before it was scary to be naked. When I was just free in this nakedness, before it was violated, my innocence in whatever form that happened. And I think on this journey, that is just a confrontation we are encountered with. And so, okay, we look at that from a whole view, and we say, I see both. I see both the innocence and I see the violation to the innocence. And so I'm going to feed myself compassion, and I'm going to feed the compassion to that innocence to say, I'm so sorry for all those violations, for every time you were robbed, threatened, hurt, damaged, etc. And you've just got to offer yourself that. And then the second part of that strip down is, okay, no more covering up, no more costume, so to speak. I'm not performing, I'm not putting on, I'm not people pleasing. I'm not going to say I'm fine when I'm not fine. I'm not going to show up if I can't bring my whole self here. And if there's not room for my big backpack of belief, whether you can see it or believe it's there or not, I don't have time to prove it. I've got to keep in motion. So this is where I'm at on this day. Yeah, strip, a new naked.